Hello everyone, Spawn Lord here, Spawn Lord Gaming, and today I'm going to be making a brief tutorial video over navigating underwater in Wolfpack. For those who are new to the game, I will go briefly into some of the... I'm downloading stuff at the moment, so... I will briefly go into some of the tools that I'm going to use, but basically we're going to jump right in. If you have any questions after the video, just drop them down in the comments. I'll try to do my best to explain everything as I go along. But for the most part, yeah, we're going to try and keep this video as short as possible. And I've also I posted a previous video of this particular skill set, and I've kind of refined it. Thank you, Golden Aura, for your comments in the previous video. So without any further delay, let us get the ship ready for submerging. That's good. Check the hatch is closed. Confirmed. Alright, so let's come over here and get ready to plot, shall we? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom all the way into our ship. That's probably good right there. And then our current heading is 153. I'll take a line tool, pressing the 2 key on the keyboard. And I'm just going to draw a line out here. So 153. A, this, and D for distance. So if you're wondering how I lock that in place, I just type that in on the key numpad. I'm just going to drag this out a good fair bit so I have something, and I'm going to change the style of the line, dotted, dashed I should say, so that way I can see distance measurement later. So I'm just going to come through all the way back in here. I'm just going to get as close as I can, and I'm going to grab this line and using the 5 hotkey, switch it over to copy mode, copy line tool mode, and plop that right down on top of our ship. If my hands are steady, there we go. So we don't need this one anymore, so I'll press 6 on the keyboard and remove. There we go. So that's the first thing we need to do is get a line, get our track of the ship started, follow, track for our ship on the angle, the heading we're currently going. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom all the way in, and we're going to get a little, I guess you could say, a little tick mark somewhere, anywhere. It's fine, just far enough away. You see it, and we'll go and turn the line style. This doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, there you go. And as soon as the ship passes over this mark here, go ahead and hit the Z key, which will zero this out. Good enough. Okay. So you can see up top, this changed. We're now tracking distance from this point onward. Okay. Next thing we need to do is I'm going to set up a little quick reference card over on this side, which I'll explain in a minute. I'm just going to take a thing, drag this up north. That's good enough. I'll explain what this is used for in a second. So I'm just going to take a line, and we're just going to use this. This is perfect. Okay. And I'm going to draw on this little reference card, I guess you can say, the current heading we're traveling, 153. So I'm going to take my line, and just, you can actually type it in the key numpad 153 and press enter, and you're done. So that's our current heading, and that is all up here, by the way. Enter angle before distance. So if you have an angle, you type in 153, and then you can also press enter, and then you can type in a distance now, 300 say, 400, and then if you press the D key, you can actually see that. Zoom in, do that, and then if I back it up to 300, there's 300. So and then that's how you do that. So place your line input Angle, enter, input, range, enter, and then you have a very precise line that you draw. Very useful, especially when you're trying to do something very quick. It's kind of hard to, you just kind of try to scroll around the perimeter, try and find angle. You just input it using your numpad. Okay, so okay, so this will become useful later because if there are a lot of turns happening and you didn't have time to plot the last one, this is kind of like a quick reference that you can look at, say, to see where a turn was, where you started from. This 131 depth here is kind of, okay, if we can pull it far enough out, you can actually get past that. Okay. Alright, so the implementation of underwater navigation will become more useful because later on versions of the game will include land masses. So it'll be important to be able to navigate underwater to avoid striking underwater land masses, or you're striking landmass period, I suppose, is optimal. So anyway, without any further delay, let's get into it, shall we? So yeah, like I said, before you start, you want to make sure at least you have this set up. You don't have to necessarily do this. I do it because it helps me plot things, but like I said, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. Alright, so let's get the ship underwater. So let's go ahead and switch to electrics. Keep half speed. A reasonable speed for underwater navigation. It's useful for me because I'm the one doing the turning and then plotting, so there we go. Things are good. Let's go ahead and sink. Doesn't necessarily matter which valve tank you open up first, as long as they get opened. And always double check that your hatch is closed. Very important. Can probably go down a little bit more just in case we pop. Ruin our plotting. Not ideal. We want to make sure that so we don't get we don't pop up back up. Ruin this whole demonstration, ruin it? Okay. So we are submerged. Perfecto. So hopefully we don't have too much drift. The ship can drift left and right, port and starboard, so if you're the helms guy, make sure you watch that, okay? So we're going to do a somewhat steep turn. Let's go to 280. Okay, and that's going to be the starboard. Full rudder deflection. And then we're going to hop off that really fast and try and smash that odometer reset. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. And this is quick for me, so we said 280. So I'm going to draw a line using our quick reference over here. And just type in 280. And then this line will be, I'm going to make this a dashed line, okay? And we'll draw it out a fair bit, just like that, okay? Alrighty. And then we need to know the distance we traveled on this heading, so best way to do that is, if you're in a hurry, I'm going to use this tool and quickly write on this line. Kind of hard to see, isn't it? In this area, right here. This is distance travel. Actually, it's probably better to do it here. So, 1,864. And then just press left mouse button. And that'll set your distance for travel on that heading. Okay, so, but we can go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and draw that line, shall we? Make zoom all the way back in. Have time. 280 is what I said we're going to go to. So we're going to change the style of the line. We're going to need distance. And let's do a heavy line. There we go. And then we are on a heading of 153. So we type 153, enter, and then we need a distance of 1,864. Press enter. There we go. It's just shortly past when we submerged. Okay, perfect. So that's our first step. Okay, you were able to get that plotted, but for quick reference, we have it here. Next thing we need to know is we need to figure out how many degrees is it from 153 to a new heading of 280? Well, if you zoom in, you can kind of tell on your compass, can't we? So 0 right there, it's about 150, let's see, 100, that's 125, 7. Looks like 127. We can double check that here in a second, so just make sure we don't overshoot our heading. We have by quite a bit, actually. Alright, we're going to go to 300 then, so no big deal. Just roll out at 300. And we'll adjust everything in a second. There we go. And come over here and smash that reset. Alright. I got a little bit carried away with that. Alright, it's no big deal. Come over here. And we'll erase this. And we'll input a new line. So 300. There. Reset your compass by protractor by pressing the X key. X-ray. And then we're going to change this line type by dash. Okay, so if we want to see, you can kind of see it here, so, but I find it easier if you just use the math. So we're at 300 now, and we subtract our previous heading, which was 153. Gives us 147. That's the number of degrees it took us to travel from here to here. Okay, and we did a starboard turn, so this way, and I like to indicate that somewhere on this here, just in case I forget. We can get rid of both distance and angle and just do that. So now you know you did a turn this direction. So you could have gone this way. It's a lot longer of a turn. It would have been safer. It would have been easier to go this way. It's a shorter distance, as the crow flies, I suppose. Not really. All right, so we're traveling on a straight line distance. And we have a new value up here, which is our distance in the turn, okay? Which is useful. We kind of need that. So we're going to come over here, and we need to write that down. Just going to plop it down here. You can press the hotkeys, by the way. So, and I like to put it on this side of the triangle if there's room. If it's a short turn like this, you may not be able to. So that's why. Right in here, it's always preceded by TD, turn distance, and then I just press, I type in the distance traveled for 24, we're putting it in left mouse button. There you go, so that's our turn distance, okay? And we can also put in here your heading, number of degrees. I call PHC, just call it PH for short, and then we'll say 147, which is how many degrees it was from 153 to 300. Perfect. Alright, so let's do another turn, shall we? Ooh, what did I do? Okay. So let's go back to a heading of do a starboard port turn now. So let's go to 220. 20. Okay, hop out of that, smash that, and there we go. Now, since we have one line already set up here, let's draw this. We have to be very quick about this. We're going to kind of scoot this over about right there. Perfect. And then we're going to draw our new heading, which was 300. Angle. Just type in 300, reset your protractor by putting X, Pressing X, there we go. And we're gonna go to 220, I said, right? Believe that's what I said. Anyway, so we're gonna make sure your snap tool's on by pressing the S key. You want it set to snap to everything. That's point, that's line, and that's everything. We're gonna go to 220, put that in, and then we're gonna change the line style, just like that. Alright, and then we need to know our distance traveled on this heading, which is 419. Just come over here and then type distance traveled, 419, and then enter. Okay. Alright, now let's hop out of there. That's the straight line distance we traveled on this on the 300. So we're going to roll out at 220. You're like, well, that's all well good, but we haven't shown us how to do any turns yet. I'm getting there. Just hold on there. Hold on there, Slick. We'll get there. About right there is probably really good. That's actually a bit too soon, actually. You want to try and roll out as fast as... kind of want the turn roll out and everything to kind of coincide if you can get it to work. Alright. Alright, so now we have a new distance, turn distance of 229. So we're going to write that in here. And that is turn distance 229. Press enter. And then let's come over here and let's quickly get a... press the space bar to rotate the protractor. And you can get it done like, actually it's probably better to do it that way. So looks like we have a pure heading of 80. Pure heading change of 80. So it's just pure heading 80. Back that up and press enter. And I'm going to double check that just to make sure. 300 with the calculator. And then we're going to subtract 20. Is this 80? Okay, perfect. So that all lines up. Okay, so we don't have anything here. I didn't do this prior to, but we're going to come to press 5. We're going to transfer this new set just like that. And then we're going to grab our line tool and then turn this into 220. And this one you can probably just eyeball it. Actually, it's quite difficult to get that lined up, isn't it? Okay, so that's our new heading. And we don't need to indicate which way we turn because it's kind of obvious. This one's right here. Okay, so I'm still downloading something and my game is running a bit slow. What? Distance traveled, right. TD and D. TD, turn distance, and DT. It can be a bit confusing. Okay, so to keep the length of this video short, we're going to go ahead and start plotting these turns, okay? We're still currently on this heading, so you won't see there isn't going to be any dashed lines here. Alright, so first things first, we already set our distance from this point, from our mark point, from our known point, out to the distance we travel on our odometer. So anytime a turn starts, you really got to be right on Johnny on the spot and get that reset button pressed on the odometer. Otherwise, it'll throw all your plotting points off, and you'll be off. It'll just compound the problem and get significantly worse. So anyway, let's go ahead and plot that turn. So what we need, I'm going to write the formula out here. This formula is actually condensed from what it used to be. So thank you, Golden Aura. Okay, so it is our T turn distance times, in this case, this one is 424. So we're not going to worry about that just now. Times 57.3. Okay. And then we're going to take that number, the product of this operation, and divide it by our pure heading change. There we go. Which will give us the radius of our circle to plot. Okay. We're just it'll give us the radius of our circle, which is this portion here, the length of the one side of the circle, or the, yeah. So, and that'll be useful because we're going to need that turnout. It'll all make sense when we do it. Okay, so let us get to it here, shall we? Alright, so our turn distance was 424. Let's type that in. And I do believe there's actually a way to do math inside the map table. I haven't figured it out yet, but apparently it is possible. I'm not sure. So let's type in calculator for 24, and then we're going to take that number times it by 57.3. Okay, and then we're going to take that number and we're going to divide it by our pure heading change, which was 147 degrees. 147 degrees gives us a number of 165.2734693. We don't really need that, but it's there if you want it. Okay, so because you can't do seconds and minutes of a turn, so or degrees, so yeah. All right, so we're gonna need that 165. We're gonna take a line tool to start, and I'm just gonna go back a bit on our track and just center or orientate the protractor to be to be lined up with our track that we just the track that we're going to be doing our turn with, or turn on, I should say. And we're just going to plop a line down. We don't need angle for this. Just remove angle. Let's just put distance. Okay. So A to remove the angle and D to add the distance. And we're just going to simply say, well, what side turn was that? We'll come back up here. So according to our little dot line here, we did a starboard turn. So let's go here. We're just going to type in 90 if it's on that side. 090. Obviously, if we did a starboard turn or port turn, it would be 270. This is, you just want a perpendicular line to your track. Okay, this is where we're going to draw our circle. Oh. Okay, so we need to now input the turn distance, or the radius of the circle, which is what this line will be used for. So we're just going to type in on the number pad 165. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Reset. So 90. So 90. Press enter on the numpad. And then we're going to type in our distance 165. There you go. And then press enter again. And now the line is drawn.
Make sure, if you're having problems, just double check that this is set to enter angle before distance, and it's blackened in. Okay? And then we're going to do this again. We're going to take our new, take our protractor to the very end of this perpendicular line, and reset it by holding the space bar and just pulling it this way so that 0 is in line with that laid down perpendicular line. Looks like that. Okay, so then we're going to just take, now we just need to, we're going to double check our number here, which is pure heading change of 147. We're just going to draw a line at 147 degrees, which is right up here, but we're going to type it in because it's easy, 147. There you go. And we don't need distance now, because we're going to type that in, so we have 147, which is our number of degrees in the turn, and we're going to press enter, set that, and then we're going to type in 165. Actually, if you wanted to avoid this step, I just did it. Okay,
so since we have our, we're going to reset. We're gonna review that. This is a little bit easier for you to understand. Just take a circle tool and just draw it to the end. There you go. Now you don't have to worry about distance again. So then after that, we're going to come back over here, and we're going to type in the pure heading change, which was 147, if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check our stuff here. 147. Yep, perfect. Okay, so then you have this point here, which is where we're going to draw. We have our enter point, turn entrance, and our turn exit. Okay. And now we're going to come up here, and we're going to see where we went after that. So we went to 300. Okay. This is, don't let this confuse you because it can. The length of this, I should have turned off distance for this line because it can be a bit confusing if you see this number and then you're like, well, how far did I travel on the heading of 300? So, but we wrote it down here. Distance traveled, okay, which is 419. So we're just going to come over here and we're going to draw. We don't need the dashed line this particular instance because we are going to plot the turn. So anyway, important that after you've drawn the exit point that you reset your protractor by pressing the X key, X-ray. So that north, you're now back drawing accurate compass headings instead of based off of the protractor or anything that you did prior. So press the X key and then it'll clear that up, the X-ray key. So we're going to type in our new heading, which was 300, and then press enter, and then we traveled a distance of 419 meters. So we'll type that in, 419, press enter, and there we go. That's our new exit point. And just double check by a line tool. We need distance here, so 419, perfect. So there we go. Clear that. Next thing is our next turn, which we did a turn from 300 to 220, okay? So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over here, so clear out everything on your calculator, and then we're going to type in 229, which is our turn distance, okay? Times 57.3, and then we're going to take that. We're not going to even press the equals key. We're just going to go ahead and automatically go divided by 80, which is our pure heading change, which gives us 164. Okay. Was that what we had last time? I think it was 164. Let me double check here. I think that's how big our turn was last time. It was 165. Okay. Unless I did that wrong. It's possible with me. Okay. Alright, so from 300 we did a port turn to 220. So over here. Same thing before, line your protractor with the course track. And then since in this case we're going to type in 270 because we did a port turn this time. We don't need angle. We do need distance, so we're good as we are. So we're just going to type in 164. Oh, sorry, I messed that up. Angle before distance, right. So 270, enter. Then we're going to type in 164, enter. There you go. And then we're just going to take our circle tool. You can have this, it's the 3 key by the way, but I'm reluctant to use hotkeys for some reason. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line tool. We're going to draw, we have our enter point, and we're just going to mark our exit point for the turn. And that is simply, once again, line up to the perpendicular line to the track, and then we're just going to come up here, and we did a turn. What was our turn? PHC for this turn, which was 80, right? Okay. Pure heading change of 80. So, obviously, the turn will start on this side of the circle, so you can't roll it this way. So it wouldn't be this, obviously. That's a little bit ridiculous. So it's all gonna, you have your track here, start of your track, this line, the turn starts, and then we did 80 degrees this way. So we take 360, subtract 80, which should give us the point to plot on this side, which in this case is 280. So type in 280 and press enter. We don't need distance, we're just going to draw it out ourselves. And we can actually remove the distance here. That's not needed. So that's our turn exit point right here. So I've got a frog in my throat. Sorry about that. So we've drawn our entrance and exit, so make sure you reset your protractor by pressing X on the keyboard. This is there. There's a button up here, but yeah, there you go. Reset protractor X. Next. So we turned on a heading of 220. Come over here. Right at that entrance point, or exit point, excuse me. We're going to type in 220. There we go. And draw our line. In this case, we'll use a dashed line. Oops, sorry, that's sketch mode. There we go. And we'll just draw this out. Because we haven't done any turns yet. Other turns, so he's still on a traveling distance. But for the sake of time, let's go ahead and surface the boat. And hold on just a second.
Sorry about that. That is some phlegm or something. Alright.
Let's go ahead and stop the boat and we'll surface so we can see how we did. Stop by hitting the shift and the portion of the telegraph that you want to use. Should get our boat to a stop. Hello everybody, welcome back. So the boat finally came to a stop. It was stuck at 0.1 for the longest time. We refused to stop, but we have got her stopped. And before we return to the surface, we're going to go ahead and plot our last point to see how we did. Okay. So we traveled 2,338. So let's go ahead and change our line tool to a thick dark line, and we'll type in distance so we can see distance, angle, we'll do both, and we're going to go 220, right? Press enter, and then we're going to type in the distance traveled on the odometer, which was 2,000. Did I do turn distance somewhere? Did I write that number down properly before we get all ahead of ourselves? Yes, I did. Okay. It's like, did I already screw up? No, turn distance was here. Okay, good. Alright, so let's go type this in. 2,338. Press enter. Okay, so. Oop, wrong thing. We're going to go ahead and remove the dashed line, and this one as well, not needed. And now, moment of truth. How far did we sink? We're pretty close to the surface, so don't have to wait too long to see how we did. Alright, that should put it on the surface. Obviously you would check before you surface to make sure that you don't surface right next to a Corvette, but okay, so we are from at this range of the map scale, we're pretty good. Let's keep zooming in and see how terrible this gets. Okay, so that's I would say that's full zoom, and it looks like we're pretty much spot on. I can't draw, I don't even see a gap, so basically we were 100% accurate. Well, not 100% accurate, we are slightly on this side of the circle. So we're actually slightly farther starboard than I thought we would be. But yeah, not too bad. I would say that's pretty good for government work, considering we're on a government boat, German boat. So yeah, this will conclude this tutorial. If you have any questions on how to plot points, please, or if there's anything in this video that you didn't quite understand, please leave a comment down below. Also, I do ask that if this video was at all helpful, please consider subscribing for future tutorials from my channel. I will continue to make tutorials for Wolfpack. This is the one I've made, but I've refined it a bit, so yeah, so that'll always make sure that you're up to date on any tutorials that I post. It does help my little channel out. I only have 78 subscribers at the time of the making of this video, so any support that you a thumbs up, thumbs down, or even subscribing helps my channel out immensely. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Tschüss.